Biotech location.
State-of-the-art facilities.
Substantial investment.
Center of excellence.
Diagnosis and treatment.
Antibodies.
Modeled on nature.
From research to production.
The entire value-added chain.
The star of this film is actually quite small. Tiny, in fact.
Tiny, but very important. Researchers all over the world work with and on me every day, so I'm at the center of all the shaking, stirring, and analyzing that's going on here. It takes a lot of people, technology, and investment to identify me and my characteristics, to produce me and turn me into a form that can be used for the diagnosis and treatment of an increasing number of diseases. But do come closer. I'm an antibody, but discovering a molecule like me is only the start of the story. Compared to other molecules, I am, in fact, enormous. 1,000 times larger than an aspirin molecule, for example. Follow me into my world and I'll show you how antibodies like me work and what we're capable of doing. Bless you. And there we have a very good example. The patient's immune system forms antibodies. The antibodies then bind to viruses and enable the body's defense cells to destroy the intruders.
We use this principle that nature has developed to combat diseases for which the body has no defenses. One of them is cancer. There are receptors on the surface of healthy cells that promote growth and cell division. These enable cells to reproduce in a controlled fashion. There are often far more of these receptors on cancer cells, which means that the cells can reproduce rapidly and in an uncontrolled fashion. Antibodies like the successful breast cancer drug Herceptin, for example, block these receptors and stop the tumor from growing. The new drug GA101, the potential successor to MabThera, is currently at an advanced phase of clinical testing. It has already demonstrated superior efficacy in the treatment of lymphatic cancer and leukemia in patients who had stopped responding to other treatments.
As a novel antibody, I also bind to receptors on cancer cells, but I have been selectively modified or engineered to produce an additional effect. If certain sections are removed from my sugar chain, I am able to attract the body's own defense cells, which then kill the cancer cells in much the same way that they deal with viruses. You could say I'm helping the body to heal itself.
What if we could use therapeutic antibodies to overcome another dreadful condition for which there is currently no effective treatment? Alzheimer's disease. Protein deposits, known as plaques, form around the brain cells of patients with Alzheimer's disease. They could be what causes brain cells to die off relentlessly. What if we could generate antibodies that dock onto these plaques and attract the brain's own defense cells, which would then eliminate these plaques? And what if the antibody's activity against the plaques had already been shown to be effective in patients? All over the world, several hundred patients in whom state-of-the-art diagnostic methods have identified early signs of Alzheimer's disease will be treated with a new antibody, gantenerumab, over the next 2 years. If these studies were able to show that plaque reduction delays or even prevents the progression of memory loss, we would be on the brink of a medical sensation. But all this is possible only if these illnesses can be diagnosed at an early stage, reliably and with high accuracy, using the latest analytical systems. And here too,
We, as diagnostic antibodies, provide crucial support. In Alzheimer's, for example, minute quantities of plaques enter the spinal fluid even at an early stage of the disease. When a sample of spinal fluid has been collected by the doctor, two of us can surround or sandwich these plaque residues. Using what we call an anchor, we can bind to magnetic particles and thus be held securely in a measuring cell together with the plaque residue. The other antibody is linked with a special dye. If an electric voltage is now applied, this dye generates light that allows an accurate assessment to be made of any plaque quantities present, providing the opportunity to diagnose Alzheimer's long before the illness actually manifests itself.
And then treat it, possibly with gantenerumab. As individuals are not the same, diseases are not the same either. This is particularly true of cancer.
In the breast cancer drug Herceptin, for example, I can produce an effect only at a specific growth receptor, a receptor that is present in 1 patient out of 4. But who is that 1 out of 4?
In order to identify these patients, a diagnostic antibody is coupled with a dye
And placed on a tumor tissue sample. If this tumor carries the crucial receptors, I bind to these and stain the tissue. Based on this staining pattern, the pathologist recommends the appropriate drug therapy. Highly automated Roche systems are used for these and other similar, very complex analytical methods. With systems like these, my colleagues and I are measured and counted several million times a day worldwide. So a wide variety of illnesses, such as cancers, cardiovascular conditions, infectious diseases, and hormonal disorders, can be detected with increasing accuracy.
It's much more than that to the people to whom we dedicate our work here every day. For many doctors, it means support for work that carries a burden of responsibility. For the numerous patients who are treated applying the latest diagnostic methods and drugs from Roche, it means hope and fresh prospects.
This is why Roche has invested in the Penzberg site. Buildings, technology, analytical laboratories, and state-of-the-art research, process development, and material supply facilities, so that antibodies like me can be generated and produced to a high-quality standard. For this site, it means highly skilled jobs and the affirmation of its status as a center of expertise for biotechnology at Roche Pharmaceuticals and Diagnostics. Today, almost 4,000 people work here in research, development, and production. They are using their unique expertise and visions for the medical solutions of tomorrow. Roche has invested considerable sums to strengthen and combine all aspects of the value-added chain for diagnostics and pharmaceuticals under one roof. Research, development, and production. From idea to patient.